So many network marketers fall in love with a health and wellness product, and then they realize that there's an incredible opportunity to build the lifestyle and income of their dreams. But what happens when you get started and you run out of friends and family to talk to, and what you're doing on social media just isn't quite getting you where you want to be? Well, the truth is, it's probably not your fault. It just takes a little marketing know-how that you may not be getting from anywhere else. So on this podcast, I'm sharing with you the secrets that I've been able to learn from all of my top earner friends and mentors. I'm pulling back the curtain on exactly what it takes to get people excited about the wellness products that you have to offer, to help people improve their lives, and to get you to the rank that you want to be at. My name is Soraya Goddard, and this is Secrets to Marketing Your Wellness MLM. Hey guys, it is Soraya here, and today is a big day on the podcast. I've had the podcast for roughly a year, and up until this episode, you have only heard my voice, which I don't know if that's scary or not. It's working, but today you might even hear some snickering. She's laughing. I have a guest. It's a big day. I have a guest, and I have actually been wanting this person as my guest, I don't know, maybe 6 months or so. It's been a while. And I literally talk to her every single day. No joke. She is one of my best friends in the world and a genius, brilliant marketer. So I wanted to have her on, and I knew that she had to be my first podcast guest. Like, there was just not a question in my mind. I have no idea what's going to happen today, truth be told, because we're going to start talking about something, and who knows where this will lead. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction very quickly to who this amazing lady is. And some of you may know her, some of you may not. Either way, I guarantee you will take something away from today. So I'm going to tell you a little story to introduce her. So when I first started in network marketing, most of you guys are familiar with my story. I was a product user. I decided eventually to start learning how to do the business. I did some home meetings, and then I, quite frankly, just ran out of friends. I ran out of people to talk to in my town that I had just moved to here in Washington, D.C. And so I figured that I better go online and start figuring out who knows how to grow their network marketing business online. And it wasn't even a week until I found this amazing, brilliant lady named Angela Brooks. And I found that she was on Twitter and she had a blog and she was teaching other people about the business of network marketing. And I had no idea that that was even a thing, but I hung on every word that she said. I was following her on Twitter. And remember, this is like before Instagram was really big and before Facebook Live existed. This was about 3 years ago, maybe. I don't know. I'm bad at time. But found her. Fast forward, I went to my very first network marketing event, and there she was. And we connected on Twitter, met in real life in the room. And before the end of the night, we were fast friends. And fast forward a couple years, I've probably talked to this lady more than my own husband in the last 3 years. So with that very, very long introduction, welcome Angela Brooks as my first podcast guest.
Thank you. That's a heck of an intro.
Well, I didn't even tell everyone why you were so genius. So you are, I'm going to embarrass you even more. You are so good at online marketing. It is ridiculous. You have built an incredibly wildly successful business in network marketing and some affiliate marketing as well. But we're going to focus, I think, mostly on network marketing today via your blog. How cool is that?
Awesome.
I know.
It is awesome. And, a lot of people come online and they don't even know how to get in front of their audience. And I didn't either. I was dumb as a rock when I started this.
No, wait, hold on. You're a very smart lady. You just didn't know anything about online marketing.
That's right. Absolutely. Because I literally had to Google how to copy and paste. That's how far back I started.
But that's amazing. That's amazing, right? Because that means that if you can learn, anybody can learn.
That's right. I mean, you can now, of course, that was in 2010. Google wasn't as fancy as it is now. We didn't have all the resources online that we've got today. So it would have been twice as fast because I'd had a YouTube to go and look stuff up on.
Oh, the interwebs. Thank God we're where we're at now. Everything's so easy to find, right? So before we get too deep into all your marketing brilliance, tell me how you got into network marketing and then what led you to start building online.
Well, I was a night shift nurse. I worked 6 at night till 7 in the morning, 3 days a week. And I know 3 days a week sounds like it's not that big a deal, except you don't know when to sleep or you don't sleep. And I had a toddler. And so if you've ever been around toddlers, they don't sleep on demand. So I slept when he wanted me to. And I would go to work many times on, 2, 3, 4 hours of sleep to work a 13-hour shift in a very aggressive environment where you had to be turned on. Your energy had to be alert all the time. So I had my lunch break and I had my 15-minute breaks and I had my phone. And that's where I would go and sit outside just to get away from the noise. And I started blogging about my story. Stories are something that people don't give credit to, and I didn't either. But I would sit and it was kind of like journaling at first. And then I learned how to blog and how to put up this pink, ugly blog that worked. But I was just writing my story as a nurse, and then other nurses on social or on the internet, not necessarily Facebook, started finding my stories, and they're going, "Me too." And I'm like, "Oh, so there's other people that are stressed out like me." But I didn't have the energy, nor did I have the want to do that home party thing where we gather people together at home or at a coffee shop. I was exhausted. I didn't want to have more people around me.
Yeah.
So I used my blog as my beginnings, because it was something I could do anywhere I was. And of course, don't hate me, but I had a BlackBerry. If you've ever had a BlackBerry.
Oh my God, yeah, with the actual keyboard. I had those for years. In fact, I kind of feel like I would love one again. I'm sure they probably make them somewhere. I loved that thing. I was obsessed with my BlackBerry.
Absolutely. It was
I
the
could type like
bomb.
100 miles an hour on that thing.
But I would write my entire blog post on my BlackBerry, and then I would
Oh my
email it to
goodness.
myself.
That's amazing.
So
That's amazing.
yeah. But that's what was working for me, because that's all the time that I had available. And so I just used it.
Yeah. I'm just going to cut in for a second. So first of all, I just want to put out a disclaimer. If you or your business model, if you were listening and your business model is based on home parties, we are not hating on home parties.
Not at all.
An incredible way to build your business. But what I found is, especially when I was new, and it sounds like Angela's saying the same thing, sometimes schedules make it very, very difficult to do that. And there are, so even when you are inviting people to home parties, you still have to connect with people and make an invitation. So this is just figuring out how to connect with people online and expanding the way that you connect with people so that your circle isn't just immediately in your hometown or your warm market, which there's nothing wrong with that, but there's many ways of marketing your business, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's awesome. So you started your blog and people started to reach out to you. And then what happened?
Well, I had a network marketing company at the time, which was quickly going down the tubes. I didn't know how to market a network marketing company. So I was looking for something different. Didn't really have anything on the table that I was looking for. And I went to a business training in Chicago and was sitting beside a lady who had all of these little products sitting all over the table that she was using all day long. And I'm like, what is that? And that's exactly what we want people to do, is curiosity, asking questions. What is it? And I bought a kit that day before I left. And since I already had a blog, I was just writing my story again, what it was I was doing, where I was, and what I had just bought. And before I got on the airplane the next day, somebody had bought $300 worth. And I thought,
boom.
Okay, this might work.
Boom. I love it. I mean, so you had put in the work to build an audience, and you
Yep.
had been consistently delivering what we call value, which I know a lot of people get hung up on that. Like, what does that mean? You had been sharing your story with people and giving them hope and probably some inspiration and probably some humor, knowing you, and sharing and connecting with people so that they felt like they knew you. Some of them, I'm sure by that point, did know you.
Right. And I didn't have a big audience. I had probably less than 500.
That's amazing. But a
And
lot of
so,
people, so there's probably people on this podcast who would love to have 500 people listening to them. So what would you say, So what happened after that? So you had 500 people reading your blog. Is that what you mean by that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
probably, because you can use Google Analytics,
Yeah.
and it'll tell you how many people. Because I was building a list, but it was very, very small,
Yeah.
and that was probably less than 200.
Okay.
I would
Awesome.
say way less.
Awesome.
Um, so I learned that I needed to email those people and tell them what I was writing, and then those people who naturally were following me. Um, but I had somebody on Twitter, just like I met you, because that's where I hung out a lot, was on Twitter, because Facebook wasn't the thing. And I had a girl sign up. Just, I'd never met her. We hadn't had a phone conversation, nothing. As a matter of fact, she's still with me today. She's one of my gold leaders in my
That's
company.
amazing.
And she came in straight in going, I have followed you since you started blogging because she has, kids in baseball, blah, blah, blah. And we connected. She signed up and she stayed with me all these years. And of course, it'll be 9 years this year.
I love it. So what would you say to the person, and I hear this all the time, the person who either wants to start a blog or a podcast, or even just wants to deliver value on Facebook or Instagram and says, I don't know what to write about, or I don't know what to talk about. What would you say to them?
We had this conversation with a group of people just this week, and so many people try to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They try to be, I don't know, they buy a kit and they try to be this suit and tie person, and that's not what people are looking for. They want people that I call the Me Too factor. They want to be able to relate to you, share your story, talk about not your food. People don't want to see your food.
Yeah. Nobody cares about your breakfast burrito.
No, they do not. But they want to know who you are, share your story, what it is that you do, your frustrations as much as your wins. People are looking for somebody to collaborate with that they can know and feel like they're friends through the monitor.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I think our friendship, which was hilarious, it started on Twitter because
It
of
did.
Twitter.
Which is funny
And
because I don't even hang out on Twitter anymore, but like maybe
no,
I was supposed to be there so I could meet you or something. I don't know. I am
but
not an avid Twitter user. In fact, I don't even think I've updated my name since I got married on Twitter. Who knows?
oh, that's priceless.
Who knows? I don't even know what's on Twitter. So, um, but there are actually still a lot of people who hang out on Twitter. I know
Yep.
it's very, very powerful. Um, yeah, I mean, so we met on social media, and I thought I was instantly attracted to what you were doing because I knew nobody at the time. I was just getting into the business. I was desperate and hungry for information. And I knew that there were people out there that knew how to teach business, but not a lot of people talking about it and actually blogging about it and tweeting about it. And I thought that that was amazing. And I liked your spunk, your personality comes through. You are who you are. And when anyone meets you, especially, in person, they see that you're smart and fiery and witty, and it's just awesome. And I loved it. And so I didn't even know you very well, but in a very short time, even just off Twitter, I could tell that you were someone to watch. And so I think it's just great that people I mean, we're so spoiled, right? We are so spoiled that we have this at our fingertips, and
Yeah.
people can connect with others in any way that they want. So you started out using Twitter and your blog. Now, are you still active on Twitter, and do you still blog?
I'm on Twitter because my son's baseball college, that's where they tweet the updates during games.
Nice, nice.
So I'm on Twitter for that. And I do play around with it some, not as much as I used to, but I use my blog. Facebook and Instagram, I guess, are my go-tos. Those are my three platforms that I stick with the
Yeah.
most. But people like they find you on social media, and if they found me because of my blog, they're going to find me on the social platforms because I direct them there. But when they meet you in person, there is no stranger danger at all
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they already know you. And I think that's the funnest part of what we get to do on social status anymore is there's no strangers. I'm not saying you shouldn't be cautious at some weird people, but
Sure. There's all sorts of creeps online,
absolutely.
but for
But
the
in
most
general,
part, you can, find some mentors online or find people that are doing what you would like to do and connect with them and just follow
oh
what
yeah.
they do. Follow them on Instagram. You can watch their stories and creep in. Then you can see the breakfast burrito and all of that, right? Because everyone's showing the less edited stuff in their stories. or you can read their blog. You can
Yeah.
do whatever. We're so freaking spoiled that we have all this. I love it. I love it so much.
And
So,
I'm gonna
oh, go
tell
ahead.
a tale on you because
Uh-oh.
I still think it's funny. It's
Uh-oh.
not bad. When I first met you, and I was taking pictures of all of the elite people in the room at this event that we met at, and I was like, "Aren't you taking any pictures?" And you're like, "No, I just don't get into pictures at all." And now she's the Instagram queen, and I always laugh about that because I was like, she was not into pictures, not into selfies, and
Nope,
that is
not a
her.
one.
That
But like, isn't that a testimony to how you can learn to market yourself and how you can learn to market things? You couldn't have paid me to take a selfie before this. In fact, even for the first year I was in network marketing as a business, you can't if you scroll back on my Facebook, I don't
nothing.
even know. It probably took me a year or more to post a picture of myself online
Yep.
on Facebook. I
Yep.
couldn't, there's no way. And once I understood that you have to connect with people, then it still was terrifying, but then I knew I had to do it. And it just took practice over time. And now I'm like, I'll take 700 selfies a day. It doesn't matter to me. But at first, I didn't understand why it was important. I thought it was narcissistic. I thought it was lame. I didn't understand why anyone. But now it's when someone comes to your social media, they want to see you.
Absolutely. And that's
They,
how they connect.
exactly right. They don't want to know. Again, I joke about the breakfast burrito, but like, I want to see you. I don't want to see your dog. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my dog. I love posting pictures of my dog, but I want to see you. I want to know what you're doing. I want to see your life. And the only way I can really get that is by seeing pictures of your beautiful face, right?
Yep. Yep.
And
And
you're so
people,
right, though. I hated pictures before.
I just think it's so awesome how much you have developed Instagram, and that was your number one holdback. So that tells me, like so many people, what is your biggest holdback? Which I'm not a fan of video, and that's probably the biggest thing that I need to get on. Um,
Yeah.
but what holds people back is, generally speaking, your thing that you'll be
The
known
thing that
for
you
the
should
most.
be doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just having this conversation with my girl Ashley yesterday, and I was telling her to read the book, The Obstacle is the Way. And
Mm,
if you can't tell by the title of the book, it's a book that talks about you pushing through the thing that you're most resistant to, because that's usually what you need. You're usually resisting it for a reason.
yep.
And actually, we share a business coach now, and he has mentioned to me on multiple occasions that that is exactly what I need to do. So if I box him or call him or something and I say, hey, like for some reason I just don't want to do this, he'll usually say, that's probably a sign that you need to be doing more of it.
Yep.
So it usually always works out that way.
Yep. And I do videos. I do them in my group. I do them in several groups that I've got, but I don't do them openly on my platform, which I probably should.
So why, so you might hate me for asking this, but why do you think you don't like videos?
Because I don't want to have to do makeup and comb my hair, and I'm not one of those that's going to get on video in my pajamas.
Yeah.
Some people will, and I won't.
So I asked that because I think there's a lot of people that are probably listening to this that don't want to do videos as well. And it's probably for the exact same reason.
Yeah, it just takes a lot of effort for me to get on video, because not every day do I get dressed up. I stay in my ball cap. If I've got a ball cap on, I'll jump on. But if I'm out mowing the yard, I'm not, some people will do a Facebook Live when they're looking like total hell. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
You know what's funny though? I like so my audience knows, and you know this. I still work a full-time job, like a more than full-time job, and then I come home and I usually, now I've been working out in the mornings again, but sometimes I'll work out at the end of the day. And if and when I jump on either Instagram and or Facebook, I am always sweaty and in workout clothes. I mean, thank God you can't smell through social media, right? So I'm always sweaty, but I will tell you, you get a freaking ring light and it's magic. It's like a magic halo from the heavens. And a little bit of good lighting goes a long way. And I usually tell people, just got back from the gym, or if I'm Instagram storing something, they'll see that I was just working out. And I think at first I used to think that it was weird. Now I think it's just really relatable. that you don't have to get dressed up. You don't have to get dressed up to be on video or to show your face somewhere. In fact, how cool is that you could you could go mow your lawn and jump on a Facebook Live when most people are at work, and most people would
Oh,
much rather be at home mowing their lawn, right?
absolutely.
I think that's
Absolutely.
so attractive. If somebody was like, "Hey, I just washed dishes and let me tell you about my business," I'd be like, "Yes, please," because that's, I mean, washing dishes is not super sexy, but neither is really being in an office job. And I'm not hating on jobs. I love jobs. I choose to continue to stay in my career because I love it. But there's some days where I'm like, man, I would just rather be at home in my pajamas, right?
Right.
I
And
don't
that's that, and video is probably my number one holdback. It's like I've always used social media. I've always used my blog. Built a wonderful list and a great community of following. But I truly believe in my gut that it would triple if I would just get on video more.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, because that's pretty personal and that's pretty raw. But I think a lot of
Mhm.
people are going to really, really see that no matter what level you are at, there's always things that we could probably improve upon, and there's always ways that we can push ourselves out of our comfort zone.
Oh
So
yeah.
I didn't say this at the beginning, but Angela's business, not only is she definitely in the six-figure range, her team volume this past year has surpassed 1 million in a month. So that is amazing. So she is a powerhouse in network marketing. And so for someone who has achieved so much and just been so consistent, to see that you are still growing and still learning, I think is just a huge testament to, number one, your badassery, if that's a word. And then number two, that, we just always have to continue to learn. So tell me about your blog now. Has it changed over time? Do you still blog about the same things? What goes through your head? How do you think about your blogging these days?
It has definitely got better because, when I was in the eighth grade, I know this is way back, but coming forward, I was told back then, and it stuck in my head. And so I know this happens to a lot of people because I've heard grown adults talk about this for years, is what my English teacher told me way back then. I have a blog that is successful that's pulled me into a six-figure world, that she told me that I could not write, that couldn't do English well. And I'm like, hello,
Ugh.
they have got things that correct your spelling on the Facebook and
Yes.
on the internet. So if you're not a blogger, you're scared of blogging, don't let that stop you, because I wish I could let Miss Thing know that I have, had a successful blog, but it has grown and changed because I know how to speak to people. I know how to draw their eyes into a blog, how to use that, different titles with a call to action. And it's got videos, it's got podcasts, it has lots of different things for different people, because not everybody's a reader. Some people like to listen, like your podcasters. Some people like to watch videos. So I mix it up and I put things on there to serve all people, where I used to just do, word content. So it
Yeah,
has really
absolutely.
grown.
So now, but you track all that, right? Tell me about what are the things? So let's say I have a listener who wants to start a blog. What are the things that they should be paying attention to? What are the things that are maybe important and not so important to pay attention to?
Some it depends on what blogging person that you're talking to. They want to tell you how many words to write and how many, highlighted words that I call them H3s, but they're highlighted words.
Yeah,
How many of
words
those?
that you want people to be able to find you in a search for.
Yeah, right. And SEO. A lot of people don't know what SEO is, but it's the SEO of a blog. And nowadays, I don't think SEO is as important as it used to be because of the searchability of Google.
Yeah.
You do need to have, like your heading, your title needs to have your keyword. If say the name of your blog was how to start a blog, then that word blog needs to be in the first paragraph. It needs to be in a highlighted heading, and it needs to be in the very bottom paragraph, because that's how Google searches.
Yeah.
It'll go across your blog like a little bug. And you can also attach Google Analytics to your blog so that you can see where people are coming from, what they're reading, how long they're reading it. and where they jump to from that blog post to see where their interest is. So you know who you're talking to and what they like to read.
Yeah.
Is it males, females, what country? I mean, all the way down literally to what color car they have. It's insane.
I love that
How much
stuff. It's so fun.
I know. It is just so amazing that they can even get that out of somebody's
I
clicking
know.
on a
I
blog.
know. Google knows everything. They know all about
Everything.
us. They
So,
so if I was, let's say, I'm going to make this up. Let's say I just joined a health and wellness company that focuses on weight loss supplements or some sort of supplement, right? What would be your advice to me if I wanted to start using a blog to grow my business? What should I be thinking about? What should I consider? Should I just start it and figure it out? What would you tell me?
um, first of all, people don't really care what the ingredients are to whatever product you've got.
Mm-hmm.
All they want to know is the benefits of what it's going to do for them. So if you can tell me a story about why I need that and how it's going to serve me, the story format gets more attention than if you was to be puking out a sales page. If you're just
Yes.
telling me, buy my thing because I want you to, and here's the link to buy it, they're going to skip your page. But if you tell me a story of why you started taking that and what it did for you, your family, or your friend Betsy, you're going to draw them into learning more about it than if you just try to straight up do a sales post.
Oh,
That
it's like
makes
I
sense.
paid you to say that. So good. I mean, yeah, right. Because I've seen so many people who start doing individual blog posts about individual products and stuff, and I look, you can find all that stuff on Google. I don't need you to
Yeah.
blog about it, right? I want to
Yep.
hear about you and your story and how it transformed your life. Here's the other question I get all the time. I probably get this via DM maybe 3 times a week. Should I talk about business or product? What would you say to someone?
Well, I say lead with whatever you're comfortable with, but most people, especially in the company I'm in, they lead with product. But you need to let people know that when you love something, you're going to talk about it. And wouldn't you like to get paid for what you talk about?
There you go. So
Because if
that's what
you,
I didn't know what you were going to answer there, but it's really whatever you want, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And if you're going to talk about product, you might as well mention that you could probably make some money off of it too. Or
because
that at
people
least
are
you're making
talkers.
money. Tell your story about how you're making money off of it, right?
That's right.
Oh, because people are going to be like, well, I want some of that. So, because I guess the part that we skipped over your story is that you were a nurse for how many years?
A total of 30.
Okay. And you walked away and that was it.
Yeah.
Now you work from home
Yep. And it's been
online.
almost 5 years.
Oh, so amazing. So amazing. Because who wouldn't want to hear that, right? Who wouldn't want to hear that story about how Angela builds her business from her cell phone watching her son's baseball games?
and
Oh,
it was scary because I had worked for a boss since I was 16, well, 15 years old, and handing in my retirement papers, my entire body was shaking all over because it was like, here it is. I'm going to have to depend on, even though I was still getting a pension from, working all those years,
sure, sure.
I was still now depending on my knowledge and my efforts for my family's income. And
Yeah.
I was pretty nervous, but it's been a huge blessing. We've got to travel. We've got to, my son was in Washington playing ball this summer. We got on a plane and we flew up there and surprised him. He had no idea we were coming.
Oh,
And, we stayed for 4 days, and we couldn't have done that had I had a job because I would have had to ask permission to be off. It just wouldn't have worked the same.
yeah.
So, I mean, we're traveling about every 2 to 3 months. We're somewhere
Yeah. And I don't even, we didn't mention your home base is where,
in Kentucky.
if they couldn't tell by your accent.
That's right. That's right.
In Kentucky, which I still need to come visit. Yeah, I think that the idea of freedom means different things to different people. But for you, I think so many people can relate to the idea of wanting to just be able to be present with their kids.
Yeah. And that was my push point is when Zach started college, I had a supervisor that was not the nicest human being on earth.
Mhm.
Um, And it was his first weekend on the mound. He was, in pitching in college. I didn't want to miss that. And, I said, hey, I need to get off early Friday because he's going to be pitching and I've got to drive 2 hours to get there. And she says, no, you can't have that off. And of course I got sick immediately. I was, had this horrible virus that showed up and I left sick, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But that was
Yeah.
a turning point for me. I was like, somebody like that is not going to tell me I can't watch him because college is short.
Yeah.
And so I got busy and I was like, heads down, it's time to go to work. I got to figure this out. And I retired 4 months later.
I love it. I love your story. I love everything you've done. You're just so much fun and an amazing human being. And I think a lot of people are going to be inspired by that today. If you had someone come to you starting from scratch, what would be, I'm trying to kind of distill this into, I know you've got so much goodness. I could sit here for 3 hours talking to you. If you had someone that was coming to you and said, hey, look, Angela, I'm inspired by your story and I have kids and I want to put my head down and I want to build my business just like you. What are just some pieces of general advice that you would give them?
To start a blog or to
just anything.
I don't care what avenue you pick, whether you're going to be a Facebook guru, an Instagrammer, blogger, you have to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you do, I don't care how crappy it is, you're not going to start out pretty. You're going to get better as you grow. You have to stay consistent, even when you hear crickets. Because there was a probably 6 months of blogging that I didn't think anybody was listening to me at all. And I just kept writing. Number one, it was therapy for me. But when people started responding back, I was like, oh, you don't know who's watching you. People watch in silent way before they step up and say, hey, I've been watching you for 3 years.
Oh, yes. All the time.
Yep. And so, people are watching what you post on Facebook. They're watching your tweets. They're watching your Instagram and going, what is it she's doing? And then they connect because they're like, I can do that, or I want to do that. You just got to stay with it, even when it's quiet.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant advice. Oh, I even need to hear that sometimes. It's so good.
We all do. Absolutely.
We all do. Yeah. No matter where we're at, being consistent is the key to success for sure. Okay. So Angela, you have a course and a blog. Tell people about where they can find you and what other goodies that you have if they want to either work with you or learn more from you or find you somewhere.
Awesome. You can find me at AngelaBrook, BROOK.com. That's got all my social platforms where you'll find me. It's got the Freedom Foundation. If you want to learn how to build on social media on using a blog, I've got a course that teaches you the basics of getting started. You can find me on any of those social status and send me a DM. Say hey to me. Let me know that you heard this podcast, and that would be fun.
There you go. It's so much fun. I love getting DMs from people who listen to this podcast because it's just connecting with real humans who have spent the time to actually hear your voice. It's the hugest compliment, I think.
I agree. I love hearing from people. And just to find out where they are and how far out they are, because my business didn't start in my hometown.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was chatting just yesterday with some lovely lady from France, and I think yesterday with our girl Susie from Africa. So it's just, what a cool thing that we get to do. Thank you so much, Angela, for talking with us and for being my first podcast guest. Yeah,
I'm so excited. Thank you for letting me be the first.
Oh my God. There wasn't anybody else that I was going to invite. So guys, if you are listening to this podcast and you think that Angela is adorable and a genius, which you should, then I want you to screenshot this and share it on your Instagram stories, because you're probably listening on your iPhone or whatever, mostly iPhone. But I know there's a shout out to you guys who are on Android. Screenshot this, upload it to your Instagram stories, tag Angela, tag me, and then go DM Angela and tell her how awesome she is and connect with her. And as always, I know it asks you in the outro, but I'm going to ask you guys again anyway. If you would leave a review on iTunes, that would be amazing. So we can get more eyeballs on this podcast and people listening to it, downloading it and listening to it, because that would just make my day. So thank you, Angela. Thank you guys to all of you listening, and I will hear you and see you on the next episode. Bye. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed Secrets to Marketing Your Wellness MLM. Before you go though, I have something for you. If you are looking to grow your audience online via social media so that you can have people getting excited about your products and reaching out to you to learn more, then you need my cheat sheet that has 50 health and wellness Facebook Live topics that will attract an audience to you. It also walks you through the secret 4-part formula that you can follow on both Facebook and Instagram that is proven to have people reaching out to you. And when you get it, I am also sending you guys an audio file for those of you who love to listen to the information on the go. You can get both of those things at www.sorayagoddard.com/podcast. Again, that's sorayagoddard.com/podcast. SORAYAGODDARD.com/podcast. Thanks so much. Chat soon.